What is up, everybody? Happy Thursday. We got a ton to talk about today. Making a statement. Who is the most valuable duo in all of Major League Baseball? Also, will anybody, most likely Matt Olson or Shohei Ohtani, get to 60 or more home runs this season? We will also be discussing the Red Sox. They're in it in the wild card race. How realistic is it that the Red Sox could make the postseason? Also, the Angels' spiral continues to just spiral more and more out of control. We also have a lot more in this show. Honesty Hour coming up as well. Fan questions. This one's going to be a blast. Let's get to it.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment. Happy Thursday, my friends. I am joined, as always, by Alex Curry. And Alex, you know, we got to start with the fact that, was it
it's
last
going to be
week?
A great damn show.
Was it? Watch your language.
No.
Was
that's
it
what
last
we're
week
talk about.
we decided to have the conversation of, well, actually,
It was
my
this
mom,
week.
shout out my mom.
Monday.
It was Monday.
Yeah.
My mom kicked it all off by texting me about my language on the show and led us somehow to a conversation of whether damn is a bad word or not. And we both put up polls on our
I got
on our
receipts.
social
I got
media.
the poll results.
Wait, I have my results as well. Go ahead. Go ahead. What does it say?
Okay. Well, 79% said no. No way, Jose. Damn is not a bad word. I even took a screenshot of your poll because I voted in your poll.
I know what my poll said.
The time that I looked, it was 69% said no. Yeah, it's not a bad word. You were being like, it's not a bad word.
No, I was obviously like
Everyone
look,
agrees.
we don't need to go on too much longer about this here, but I obviously say, look, and the people that voted also said this: you can't say it in school, but you can say it now.
But you can say it in PG movies, which is also almost is all ages. It's like parental guidance. If you feel like
Why
you
is
need
there
to
guidance?
be there,
Because you can't say that word.
No, you can say it in PG.
Look,
I'm just saying it's not a bad word.
my only point here is you can't say it in school without getting in trouble, which means it's a bad word.
No,
so
not a bad word.
I don't give a damn what anybody else
But
says.
thank you, Mama Verlander, for sparking this conversation.
Yeah.
Spiking the conversation.
I will. My mom did. She listens
Yeah?
to every episode.
she does.
I got like a late night text at one point that all it said was in all caps, "Damn."
See?
Well, what does
fun.
that prove? My mom.
Yeah, damn, she was listening.
Yeah, she was
But let's
listening.
keep it in the family because your brother pitched last night.
Yeah, interesting start.
It got the win. He got the win. Wasn't his best stuff, but he got the win.
Yeah, got the win. Offense last couple starts have been putting up a lot of runs.
Yeah.
Ended up going 5 innings, gave up 4, win on the mound. It was just a really weird game. Astros came out really early, scored a bunch of runs. Marlins come out early, scored a couple in the first, and then it never just felt like he settled in. But you look up at the end of the day, he got through 5, got the win. Weird start, but definitely a game the Astros needed because the Rangers ended up losing as well yesterday. So I think it's 2.5 in the division right now.
Yeah, but sometimes that's all it takes. Like, you do your job enough to where the offense can come through and give you the run support, and you pick up the win and you win the game.
Well, God, no, he had at least 2 1-0 losses this year when he was with the Mets. I mean, it all evens out.
It all evens out. But we also had some exciting wins yesterday. And one of the most exciting was at Wrigley Field last night.
This was probably my favorite walk-off home run of the year. Christopher Morel with the Cubs, down 3-1 in the 9th, 2 on, nobody out. Morel up at the plate, and I've become such a big fan of Christopher Morel. It started last year. I don't know if you guys remember that video that went kind of viral last year, but an older lady, a fan, went up to him, just telling him how big of a fan of his she is.
Yeah.
And he ended up giving her his necklace.
Yeah. We had it on the show last year.
Yeah. We talked about that. Yeah. And just this year, I just continue to watch the way he plays and the energy he brings to that team. And this walk-off home run was by far the coolest moment I've seen from him. Big moment, obviously, walk-off home run. Wrigley's going nuts, but he's jumping around the bases.
He's going just as nuts as the fans are.
His helmet comes off early on, and then rounding third base, he takes off his entire jersey. He jumps to home. The place is going nuts. I mean, rounding first, he takes off the helmet.
Tosses
This
it.
was awesome. I'm smiling just watching it. What a cool moment.
There's also something extra special when it happens at these historic ballparks that just have so much meaning in a fan base like the Cubs fan base. And there was a couple different perspectives. They showed it like a wide shot outside of the stadium with just the entire place almost looked like a heartbeat coming alive and jumping up and down the moment he had the walk-off home run.
It was great. I think that home run embodies everything that baseball is about and the direction it's heading.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball this year, I've talked about it a million times. The attendance is up over 9% from last year, the biggest jump that baseball attendance has had since the 80s or 90s. So for the crowd to be that packed, for the energy, for the bat, like everything about it just embodies what baseball is this year. And I love that it was Christopher Morel. He's the man.
That was magical. Another big moment for you, Darvish.
Yeah, Yu Darvish broke the all-time MLB strikeout record for a Japanese pitcher. 1,919 MLB strikeouts, passing Hideo Nomo for most all-time by a Japanese pitcher. Had to give him a lot of credit there. Yu Darvish, I don't think Yu Darvish gets the credit he deserves as a pitcher for the career he's had, because people just omit the fact that his career to this point has been two different parts. His career in Japan, which was incredible, and his career over here, which he now is the all-time strikeouts leader for a Japanese pitcher. So it's been two separate careers for him. You combine the two of those, he's one of the greatest pitchers the game of baseball has ever seen. I mean, he's unbelievable and has had a great career, and this is certainly a really cool moment that Yu Darvish just accomplished.
Now the Padres just need to keep on winning and maybe make that wild card push.
Just keep on keeping on. You know what is funny about the Padres?
What?
They do have.
I mean, they had exciting moments last night. Tatis stealing home. Like they have moments of greatness.
Well, they don't lack exciting moments. They just lack wins, and that becomes the problem. But you know, I'm not a big take it for what it is with run differential. But I did see that this one is a little this
jarring.
Yeah,
okay.
Like the Padres have a higher run differential than the Orioles, who are the #1 seed in the American League, and the Padres are obviously not in the playoffs as we currently sit, and not 500. So, I thought that was interesting. But run differential, I think some people put a little too much weight in that. But when you see that the Padres are where they are and the Orioles are where they are, it's But yeah, good stuff.
Let's get to making a statement. We got some fun ones. Our first one's going to be a little different. I'm going to give you a fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank. Fill in the statement. Okay. So our first, the most valuable duo in the National League is.
To me, this one's easy. The most valuable duo to their team in all of Major League Baseball is Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts.
Whoa. That's what I would have picked. I thought for sure you were going to go Ronald Acuna Jr. and Matt Olson.
Let me explain why I took them over Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson.
Okay.
You take Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts out of that Dodgers lineup, and they are absolutely not a first-place team in their division. They are the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah.
They are both MVP winners. Last night, they had over half of the team's hits. They are, and they still have good pieces in the offense, but that Dodgers offense is Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. Without them, that lineup would really, really struggle. The Atlanta Braves, without the duo of Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson, well, they have Michael Harris II, they have Austin Riley, they have Sean Murphy, they have Ozzie Albies, they have Orlando Arcia, they have all-stars everywhere you look. That lineup would be just fine. The difference between the Atlanta Braves and literally everyone else is their 7, 8, and 9 hitters in their lineup. That's what makes the Braves the Atlanta Braves this year. That team still wins the NL East this year without those two. Now, I can say that because the rest of the NL East, specifically specifically the Mets has been very disappointing this season, and I do think
they made their bed though. They made their decision to be sellers. But it's a different team now.
From the beginning of this season, the Atlanta Braves, I believe this, the Atlanta Braves team without Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson is good enough to win the NL East.
Oh, 100%.
And I cannot say that about the Dodgers without Freddie and Mookie. I think that's a ridiculous statement to make, that they would be the best team in that division without Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. So Freddie and Mookie are the most valuable duo to their team in all of Major League Baseball. I will say, though, I've started to bring up the conversation a couple of weeks ago about if the MVP race is getting a little closer than many people will acknowledge in the National League.
It's also kind of crazy that the four guys we just mentioned, it's like between four guys on two teams that this National League MVP race and conversation is actually happening between.
And I asked Smoltz about this every Saturday. Talk to John Smoltz. I asked him this specific conversation of, hey, Ronald Acuna is the favorite here. Is it closer than most people think? Who has your vote at this moment? So I want to play that clip now.
Look, the challenge for the Braves, and they got two contenders, right? Olson, and they've got Acuna, and then there's Freddie Freeman. And I'll tell you what, Olson's making a late charge with all that he's done with the power and the RBIs, and obviously a byproduct of Acuna. But the challenge is going to be, if the Braves get to a point and they've locked up the #1 record or not secured one of two, and they go on to win the division, how does Brian Snitker balance giving everybody the opportunity to do something specially individually?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a conversation we're going to hit a little later in the show about getting too hot too soon and what does that do for the team and the players and the personal records later. And it also kind of goes to the other side of like Shohei Ohtani. What if the Angels are out of it pretty early? Are they going to just, I don't know, like maybe not have him in as often as he should be to not get injured? I mean, they're not going to have him after that anymore.
That's a completely different conversation of whether Shohei should play the last month of the season or not.
His records, but that's what it comes down to the last month. Like who's in the hunt? Who's resting? What's the kind of game management of your players?
Look, I still think the overwhelming favorite right now is Ronald Acuna. You want to talk about what Freddie's doing average-wise and still with that power there. You want to talk about what Matt Olson's doing with all the homers. Well, Ronald Acuna Jr. is just the perfect combination of everything that will also steal you 100 bases. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's doing this year. So I think the conversation, and I said this a couple weeks ago, and I was called crazy, but I think the conversation was just a little more of a conversation than people wanted to admit between Freddie and now Matt Olson. And now everybody's having that conversation. But I was crazy 3 weeks ago for wanting to have that conversation.
Just 3 weeks ago?
I think it's a conversation. I think Ronald Acuna Jr. is clearly right now the favorite to win the MVP award, but with what Freddie and Matt Olson are doing. But to fill in the blank with your question, the most valuable duo in Major League Baseball to their team, I believe, is Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts.
That's fair. I agree. All right, let's move on to our next statement. The Major League Baseball home run leader will hit 60-plus home runs this year.
No. Nobody this year will get to the 60 home run mark. Let's discuss.
You have Matt Olson currently at 43, Ohtani at 42. But I think this also comes into play of where the team is at that last month of the season. How many at bats are you getting?
I will not even take that into consideration here and explain to you why I don't think it happens. Precursor, would love for it to happen. Everybody listening knows I would love for Shohei to hit a home run every single game from here on out for the rest of the season. He did last night. Keep on going. I would love Matt Olson to break 60 homers. I would love for him to hit 63 homers. Is it possible? Sure. Is it going to happen? I will explain to you why it will likely not happen. Now, Matt Olson needs just 10 more homers to pass Andrew Jones for the all-time Braves record. He can do that. Now, he needs 17 more to reach 60 homers and become the 7th player to ever do it. I feel like we're just throwing out this 60 number like it's candy to a baby at this point because Aaron Judge did it last year. 60 home runs has only happened to 6 players in the history of this game. Now, since the beginning of August, Matt Olson has 7 home runs. It's August 17th. Matt Olson has 7 home runs since the beginning of August. If he keeps up this current pace of this month for the rest of the season, he would be at 64 home runs. Now, this is the best stretch of Matt Olson's career.
Mm-hmm.
Is it likely that he's just going to keep this up for 2 months?
Maybe.
Maybe is a great point, but likely? No, it's not likely. There's a big difference between can it happen? Sure. And is it likely to happen? No. It's an unprecedented stretch for him at this point in his career of 7 home runs in 17 days. It's remarkable. Can he keep this up for 2 months? I'm going to say that the odds point to no. Now, Ohtani hit 42 last night.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani's at 42. Obviously, the math there. Needs 18 to become the 7th player ever to hit 60 home runs. Here's why I don't think he gets there. The most recent update on Mike Trout came out on Tuesday. And he, quote, still feels some pain in his left wrist and remains without a timetable for a return.
Yeah.
Without Trout, he won't be able to get enough opportunities to get there. We watch it every single game. Now, what does that mean? Sure, he's getting intentionally walked a lot. That's not all I'm talking about. He gets intentionally walked a lot because Mike Trout's not behind him. And in bats that he's not intentionally walked, they're pitching around him. Mm-hmm. He's okay. He didn't get intentionally walked per se, but they certainly pitched around him. And other than that, pitchers are pitching him perfectly because they're not afraid to miss the strike zone. So he's either getting intentionally walked, intentionally walked, or they're just dotting him up perfectly, and because they're not afraid to walk him. So all of his at-bats at this point are changed drastically because Mike Trout isn't in that lineup. And he currently has no timetable for return. So Shohei has 2 homers. He has 3 homers in the last 2 weeks and 8 in the last month. All of that time is without Mike Trout in the lineup. I don't think Shohei's going to be able to get there. I think he would have been if Mike Trout didn't get hurt. And I don't want to put it's a crazy injury. The hamate bone injury sucks. It's not on Mike Trout, but because Trout is not in the lineup, I don't think Shohei will be able to get there.
I would say the only way he does is if the team continues on this stretch that they're on.
You think he can get there?
I'm saying it's the only thing that he can control. And if he wants to win at something, because obviously he can't win the game for the entire team. He tries as much as he can, but maybe that's his focus. And that's what he puts all of his energy in, is to hitting the most home runs possible. Who knows? The man needs to win something. Obviously he's
going to win the MVP
favorite, but he could also set another record of maybe doing the home run sitch over 60. Who knows? But that would be, I think, the extra motivation of okay, well, I can't control the team. I can control this. And why don't I go for, I don't know. He's superstar.
I think his season, if he starts doing that, gets worse. He's not going to hit over 300 if that's the case. And we saw it years ago when he was that 2021 season. Yeah. When Trout goes down, Shohei started to try and do too much. Yeah. And the worst thing you can do in baseball is try to do more, because he knows when he walks up to the plate right now, what are my odds? What am I going to get pitched to? Nobody on, 2 outs? Probably not. Nobody on, nobody out? You might get pitched to. Yeah. Runner on second, first base open, he's not getting pitched to. So if you go up I got to try and hit a homer here, I have to try and do a lot more because our team stinks and I need to be the one to carry it, that will not be good for him. So what needs to happen, if he has any chance of doing this, is Mike Trout needs to come back tomorrow. And last I checked, Mike Trout ain't coming back tomorrow. I don't think Matt Olson or Shohei Ohtani get to the 60 home run mark, which isn't the 50 home run mark is remarkable. 60 is just a number that we can't just be throwing around. Only 6 players in history have done it. I think they both get to 50. I do not think they get to 60.
Can we take a moment for the slow-mo flow?
Oh, that was great.
Home run trot for Shohei Ohtani. He's taking in the moment. That's something he's not trying hard at. That was great.
What, his flow?
It was beautiful. Yeah, the slow-mo trot.
Just the way it happened. The pitch last night was not a strike. It was way up out of the strike zone. For him to find a way to hit that ball out to deep center field, it's ridiculous. And his helmet fell off while he did it. So that's why I imagine it was his first trot around the bases without a helmet on the entire time. And the flow just bouncing and the slow-mo camera was on him.
Shot.
I mean, there it
was
is.
so good.
Well, and he goes
like
to fix the flow. It was great.
He doesn't show it here, but he does put his hand like through the flow at one point.
He can tell he started to.
Like a Pantene commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's at 42 now.
Yep.
That was 42.
All right, let's move on to our next statement. Don't count out the Red Sox yet.
I would say don't count the Red Sox out, but don't count on them being in the playoffs. You absolutely can't count them out yet.
Yeah.
They're right there neck and neck with the Mariners right outside. It's a three-team race essentially right now. I wouldn't doubt it if the Rays keep falling and perhaps become part of that race for the last spot of the wild card race. But you can't count them out. They're one of three teams right now vying for that spot. The Blue Jays currently in it, the Mariners, and the Red Sox. Now, you mentioned they're, 3 games?
Yeah, 3 games. Mariners are 1 game out of that wild card.
So they're currently just 3 games out of the final wild card spot, but with the third hardest remaining strength of schedule and a team that I haven't fully seen enough in over the course of a full season to believe in them, right? They show flashes of being really good offensively. They show flashes of being able to pitch. Obviously, Trevor Story coming back is really good for that lineup, but I just haven't seen it. Are they close enough? Sure. Don't count them out. But I just don't feel like this team is going to be good enough to get in this year. Their pitching is below average, a team ERA of over 4.3 on the season. I would say don't count them out, but do not count on the Red Sox making the playoffs.
That's fair. All right, let's move on to our final statement. Touched on this a moment ago. The Angels are spiraling out of control.
Oh, yeah. It's a full-on... It's not good. Now, the good news is Shohei Ohtani did hit home run number 42 last night. The bad news is the Angels are 12.5 games back of the division and 7 games out of a wild card race. Their chances per Fangraphs of making the playoffs is a whopping 0.5% chance of making the playoffs. It truly is. We're talking just a couple weeks removed, not even a month removed from the Angels saying, we're keeping Shohei and we're going for it. But the crazy thing is they didn't even have, it's not even like the fan base got to celebrate going for it.
No.
Because they lost the first game. They lost the second game, and they proceeded to lose seven in a row after the trade deadline when they did go all in on buyers. This is a great tweet from Jason Foster. He said, the craziest thing about the Angels' all-in attempt to win now with Ohtani is that it failed immediately. There was no drama about it, whether it would work, no stretch run fun to keep fans excited. It was just dead on arrival. And now they'll play out the string knowing there's no redemption.
Yeah, they've only won 1 series this month. They did the exact opposite of what they needed to do to try to make a push for the postseason and have the hopes of possibly keeping Shohei Ohtani once he becomes a free agent at the end of the season.
It sucks. This brings me no joy. It sucks. You know how cool it would be to have Mike Trout go down and the Angels to have stayed in it and be like good enough right on the cusp. We're in a playoff spot, and then you get Mike Trout back and you go on a playoff run and you get in the playoffs with Shohei and Mike Trout. But we're not able to talk about that. And it's been the opposite. And I hate that we're not able to talk about it. Honestly, it just sucks. But this season for the Angels is just another letdown. And Shohei's not going to return. I mean, he just, he can't. His one goal is winning. And the one time in his career that the organization says we're going to be buyers and we're going to go win, it immediately blew up in their face.
Yep.
Immediately. And if that isn't the Angels organization in a nutshell over the last decade plus, what is? I mean, look at this season. Get this, Alex. Among all teams, National League and American League, with at least 25 wins in their first 44 decisions of the season.
Okay.
The Angels are included in that. The most losses over the following 48 games of anyone in the history of the sport is the Los Angeles Angels. They started 27-17, then went 12-36 over their next 48. No team has ever collapsed like that in history that has started as hot as they did through their first 44 games.
I wish I could say that I was surprised, but I lived this for 10 years, and you get a certain hope at the start of the season, mid-season, when they go on these runs, but there seems to be just that minus 2014 when they won the AL West and had that one little playoff run where they got swept by the Royals. But it was just, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad, especially when you have two of the best players in the game who deserve to be playing in the postseason. The sport needs them to be playing in the postseason. They should be playing in the post. It's just better for everybody if they're playing in the postseason.
Yeah. Alex Curry comes to town and the Angels can't win anymore.
Oh,
is it the Alex Curry curse?
No, it's not.
The Curry curse.
No, it's not. Because my first season with the Kings, they won a Stanley Cup.
Well, that's the Kings. The Kings have the Curry charisma.
And my first season with the Angels.
The Curry Cup.
The first season with the Angels is the one they won the AL West. And we celebrated. That was both 2014.
Was it your first year was 2014?
That was my first year sideline. I did the weekly show and pregame stuff, 2012, 2013. And then my first full sideline was 2014.
I mean, look, people are talking now. Look at the topic bar. The
it's
Curry
not.
curse.
No,
People are
it's not.
talking.
It's the opposite.
People are talking.
It's the opposite. My first and only season covering U.S. Women's National Team, they won.
Curry Cup.
2019.
World Cup. Stanley Cup.
Yep.
But if it doesn't involve a cup and it involves
the Curry Cup
trophy.
Okay. Yeah. Whatevs. Okay. Let's move on.
All right.
Time for Honesty Hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It is Honesty Hour, and people, specifically a couple fan bases, are not gonna like this. Let's hop in the trust tree and talk about the fact that the Atlanta Braves and the Dodgers are peaking too soon. Let me explain. The Braves are 8-2 in their last 10. Great. The Braves have been great all year long. The best team in baseball for the majority of the season, besides the beginning of the year when the Rays were the best team in baseball. The Dodgers are 14-1 in August with a plus 58 run differential already in August. It is remarkable. These two teams are firing on all cylinders. Now, fun fact. Over the last 4 seasons, the Dodgers have won 80% of their games in August. 2023, they're 14-1. 2022, 22-6. 2021, they went 21-6. And the year prior, 21-7. Now, I'm not saying that it is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to win, and there really isn't a way around it. You don't want to not play your best baseball at all times. But to give you a little reasoning of why peaking too soon might be bad, let's look at the division races and what that means. The Atlanta Braves are up 12.5 games in the NL East. That's done. It's over. The Braves are winning the division. The Dodgers are up 9.5 games in the NL West. That's done. The division is over. The Braves and the Dodgers will have the top 2 seeds in the National League. Whoever gets it. Braves at 1, Dodgers at 2, or if something changes there. So come mid-September, a month from now, what are you playing for? What are you really playing for? Are you playing for the number 1 seed? Sure. That means something. But it's not the same. You're not playing for your lives. You're not playing like every single game means everything to your team and the organization. Then consider the fact that those top 2 seeds are going to get a bye in the first round. It has always been my belief in baseball, prior to this first round bye for the top seeds, that a bye is not good. It's not good. You do not want that time off. No better reference than the Detroit Tigers teams that my brother was on years ago. In 2006, they sweep the Oakland A's and go to the World Series. Walk off. Maglio Ordonez walks it off to go to the World Series. They had a week off, and they came out flat in the World Series. Time off is not good in baseball. You play 162 games. You play every single day. You get in a rhythm. And at the end of that year, you do not want to get out of that rhythm. So the fact that they're not going to be playing for anything for the last month of the year, and you're going to have time off on a bye, I don't view that as a great thing. Look at all of these teams lately that are getting to the World Series. There are so many references. The Philadelphia Phillies last year get in as a wild card team. They get into the World Series. There's often a wild card team that gets on fire because they're playing for their lives to get into the playoffs, and then they have the talent and the star power to continue that on and get to the World Series. Over the last 4 seasons, or over the last 8 full seasons, you with me? Over the last 8 full seasons, half of the World Series teams are wild card teams.
I don't doubt it.
The 2022 Phillies, NL champs, 2019 Nats, World Series champs, 2014, both the Royals and the Giants were a World Series or a wild card team. So over the last 8 full seasons, half of those are wild cards. So honesty hour, Braves and Dodgers, they're peaking too early. Save some for October.
But what are you going to do? What, not win, not be great?
Also a point
I think this is where a manager needs to step in, or some sort of like team meeting, and there needs to be motivation, incentives to continue to keep this fire going.
Like what?
I don't know. Get creative.
I mean, it's fair, but
yeah,
like what do you?
I don't know. Like there has to be some sort of
Pizza party. If you went on September 27th, free pizza.
No, just like say you've already, because obviously the Dodgers experienced this last season. They qualified almost like what, a month out, 3 weeks, like, and then you saw what happened in the postseason. So I think that should also be a little bit of motivation. Like, oh, we lost to the Padres in the postseason last year after kind of coasting into the playoffs after clinching. Was it 3 weeks? A month out?
I mean,
it was early.
Technically, but these two teams, I mean, they've clinched. They're not going to, they know they're winning.
They know they're going to win. So why not just keep, there has to be a conversation. There just needs to be a conversation of like, hey, we got to keep this fire going. And whether it is some sort of incentive.
Pizza party.
Okay, pizza party.
Yeah. I want to.
That's the best diet for them, though. I know like you eat whatever you want, but talk to your athletes.
Incentive. You can break your diet. Look, I don't say this in... I did mention there's nothing that can be done. There's nothing. You don't want to like, hey, we got to play worse for a couple of weeks so this can be a race again, and then we can play for our lives down the stretch. Yeah. No, you want your team to keep playing as they are, but there's no way around it that the last few weeks they're playing for nothing, and then the first round of the playoffs you go on a bye. So all of a sudden it becomes, oh God, this is do or die for us. After really just coasting for a month, this is do or die, and we're going up against a team that's been playing for their lives for a few weeks now. There's nothing you can do. There's no incentive that you can give players unless you're gonna like personally shell out millions to them and be like, hey, if you guys, you know, like I
mean, that could be something too. Like maybe ownership comes in and it's like, hey, we saw what happened last year. If we keep this going, the winning going and the fight going, like maybe everyone gets a little bonus.
Maybe
that's not a bad idea.
It isn't.
Incentives.
You know, there's no way around it. I just think they're here in the middle of August, absolutely on fire. They're firing on all cylinders.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah. I believe.
What do you believe in?
I believe that they can keep it going.
Okay.
I want to see this matchup.
You want to see Braves, Dodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Fan questions?
Fan questions.
Let's have some fun with fan questions.
Okay.
We're going to start with a couple of Twitter questions because we're still calling it Twitter. Don't be mad. Okay. First one comes from... You can't stop the waves, Ben. Weren't you supposed to sing for us? Did I miss the episode? I was just asking you this yesterday.
You know, funny timing here.
He is.
You were just asking me this, and now the next day on the show, you can't stop the waves with username P668955534 that is clearly a burner account.
It's not me.
Ask this question.
It's not
this
me.
is Alex Curry's burner account.
It's not me. I don't have a burner account. Do you have a burner account?
No.
Is that a thing? Well, I know a couple like
Rule
star
1 of burner
athletes.
accounts. Don't talk about your burner account. Here's what I'll say, Alex.
Yeah.
Wasn't I supposed to sing?
Yes. And you are going to sing.
How many months has it been since you were supposed to play the trumpet on the show for us?
I did play the trumpet.
No, you did not.
I will bring it.
You gave us an update, and the ultimate was supposed to be you playing on the stage
we'll
the trumpet for us.
Show.
We'll have a Flippin Bats talent show. When you play the trumpet,
you're going to sing.
When you play, were you going to play Narcos, Timmy Trumpet?
Yeah, that's going to be too hard. I need something simpler.
What are you going to play, the national anthem or something? I need a song.
I thought it was just a regular blow.
Whatever I sing, you play.
When you play the trumpet, it's a technique where you have to
I don't care.
That's the sound you have to make with your lips vibrating.
And we just lost everybody ever listening is like, well, that's it for me with Flippin Bats.
We're gonna have a talent show. Yes, whoever asked this question, Ben's gonna sing, and I'll try to play something on trumpet.
Try.
Okay. Yep.
Try. I'm gonna sing.
You've sang your whole life. I am just learning how to play trumpet.
I've sang my whole life.
Okay?
You're right.
All right. Let's move on.
Okay.
Let's move on to our next question. This one comes from Anthony. What is or should be the pitcher equivalent of the bat flip? Fun. Like after striking out the side, that's when you would technically do a bat flip.
So I guess currently what pitchers do is like a strikeout, like a K strut around the mound. You know, that's what they'll hop off and do a full walk around the mound. But I agree. You know, if batters are going to have bat flips, which I'm all on board for, pitchers need to have their something. So, you know, I wouldn't hate a strike out the side, toss the glove up, finger guns to the other dugout. Or your dugout. I don't like the other dugout. Your dugout. Finger guns.
I like that finger guns are making a comeback. I've seen him a lot recently of yeah, all right. Pew, 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 pew.
Yep.
It's okay.
Big finger guns guy.
Yep.
So that would be one.
I like maybe a glove toss up. Do a little dance, catch it. Yeah. Then you can do the fingers.
A little dance. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Strikeout strut, but give it a little like a little shuffle. I don't know.
You see a lot of really big arm movements, almost hitting the ground or going out after a leg kick, an arm leg kick together. I'm doing it in my chair because my legs dangle.
We need a compilation of Alex Curry celebrations. Maybe that can be part of your talent show routine.
No, it's okay.
Bat flipping and celebrating on the stage. That'd be great.
All right, I'm down with that.
All right, thank you. That one, good question. Clearly not from Alex's burner that time because that wasn't
I don't have
burner.
a burner. All right, let's go to question number 3. This one comes from Jay. Will the Chicago Cubs make the playoffs? Were they one of your bubble teams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what I said about them, though.
I'm going to pull them up, see where we're at.
Okay. The Cubs are rolling. I think I said they're going to get in.
I mean, they're in right now.
I think I said they're getting
spot right now.
And I don't know what I said a week ago or a few days ago. I think they're going to get in.
Yeah. They're playing hot.
Actually, I know they're going to get in because that was my thing the other day. I don't think I know.
Okay.
Look,
cool.
The vibe there, the crowd, the team energy,
right,
the talent that they do have. I am worried about the Marcus Stroman news with his rib cage, and he's going to be out for I'm not sure the timeline, but it was not good news.
You did say that they were going to make the playoffs.
I really like when I don't remember what I said in my thoughts like a week.
Congrats, Cubs fans. You're going to make the playoffs.
Well, that's my answer.
That's what the voice
Congrats,
in my head
Cubs
is telling
fans.
me.
You're already in. Yeah, I do. I think they get in. I love the vibe there right now. They do need Stroman back.
You don't think they're peaking too soon?
No, they're not. And they're playing for their lives right now. Those wild card teams, and they've been playing the best baseball of the year. Justin Steele's an ace of a staff kind of guy. They need Marcus Stroman back. The rotation isn't good enough without him, I don't believe, to do damage in the playoffs.
So it's not peaking too soon when you're not leading your division.
It's not. It is peaking too soon. Yeah, it's kind of a combination. Yeah. You're playing your best baseball in the middle of August,
but they're playing their best baseball right now.
But they're not. They have to. The Braves and Dodgers
they have to continue to do that. I mean,
I think that it's a great question.
Okay.
Fair question. I think it's a combination of the Cubs are now, let's use the Cubs as an example.
Yeah.
They're playing great baseball, best baseball they have all year. And without it,
games out of first in a wild card spot.
Without it, they're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're not peaking too soon. If like you're peaking right now because you got to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Without it, there is no peaking too soon. You're just watching the playoffs on the couch at home. What did it matter if you peak too soon? You're just trying to play into the playoffs right now. Braves and Dodgers, on the other hand, they're in the playoffs. They're going to win their division. So it matters where you are in the standings, and the Cubs, if they get in, aren't going to be a fun team to play. You got Cody Bellinger hitting like 600 over the last 2 months.
Yep.
You got Justin Steele, who's one of the best, most underrated pitchers in the game of baseball. You got Alzolay at the back end of the bullpen coming out as a one of the dominant closers in the game. I mean, you're not going to want to play October baseball in Wrigley. You're just not. So if they get in, watch out. And they will get in because I said they will get in.
Yeah.
Remember?
So congrats.
Congrats.
Remember?
Cubs
Do you
fans,
remember?
You're in.
All right. We got one more fan
I remember.
question.
You remember?
This one comes from Bernard. Should Orioles sign a big free agent pitcher in the offseason or look to lock up homegrown talent?
For the love of all things holy.
Both?
Sign some star talent. I was talking to someone that I won't name in the league earlier, but an all-star, very well-known player, and we were talking about the Orioles. And this team has done everything like the Houston Astros did years ago. And I've talked about this. We've talked about this a lot.
You predicted Orioles are like the Astros from 2014 to 2017. Yeah.
And guess what? You look in that front office, some familiar faces you'll see from that Astros situation and that Astros blueprint that was drawn out. So the blueprint became draft, develop. Oh, what do you know? Our team's really good. Let's add superstars. Mm-hmm. This offseason is the let's go add some star pitchers and really do this the right way. They absolutely have to. Homegrown talent, that's already happening. We see that with Grayson Rodriguez. We're specifically talking pitching here, but we see that with Grayson Rodriguez. And on the offensive side, God knows there's a million names. Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, who's next week's podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
There's tons of names there. It is time to believe in that core and go all in. I mean, all in. Full go this offseason. Add 2-star pitchers. Just go for it, because now's the time. With star pitching, I actually believe that the Orioles I don't think the Orioles can win the World Series this year because I don't think they have enough star pitching. I love the Orioles. I love what they're doing. I hope for the CS or the World Series we end up at Camden Yards. Well, if it happens
you want to be in the bird bath and you want to have a white T-shirt and you want to get soaked
wet
and
T-shirt
you want to
contest
take off your
in
T-shirt.
the bird bath.
Yep. We've already
I want to go there for the playoffs. I am worried that this team does not have the star power on the starting pitching side to get it done in the playoffs. Playoff baseball, different game. Completely different game. So, yes, the Orioles need to go all in on starting pitching in the offseason.
Did you hear their broadcaster, Kevin Brown, sing Blink-182 on the broadcast last night?
Yeah, it was great.
It was great. He's back.
He's back.
And the fans got him back.
And he's better than ever.
That was fun. That was great.
What should I sing?
That's it. Wool?
Wool?
No, it's that.
Wool?
Wool's my well. I go, wool. You were going to ask your buddy, the country singer, if you could sing one of his songs.
Cole Swindell, if I can sing Heads Carolina.
How's that go?
Heads Carolina. I would just talk it. Heads Carolina, tails California.
I don't know. I can't recognize it if I don't hear a tone.
Heads Carolina, tails California.
All right. We're getting a little preview. It's happening.
Right. We're done.
No, we're not. Yes, we are. Kidding.
No.
I thought you said we're done with the singing thing. Yes, we're done with the show, but no, we're not done with the singing. That's going to continue, and that's going to happen. We're making it happen.
Thank you all for listening to this Thursday episode of Flippin Bats. We will be back tomorrow. Where you know what we're going to do tomorrow?
What?
I'm canceling teams.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
If your season's over, you're canceled, and It starts tomorrow. get out of here.
Sorry, guys.
All of those teams that are already canceled, we'll talk about them tomorrow. But until then, that does it for this Thursday episode of Flippin' Bats. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. We're also on all social media, including YouTube, where you can watch every single thing we do at Flippin' Bats Pod for all of them. Until tomorrow, my friends, this has been another episode of Flippin' Bats. Peace.